Okay, I'm going to do a little tutorial on how to more cleanly post your color temperature project. So I'm going to open up Photoshop and I'm going to show you how to turn this image, which I scanned uh, at the library under the iBook scanner. And this would work if you also took a Photoshop or a photo of it. And you can see it's not incredibly clean. I didn't do a very good job of labeling it. So I'm going to show you how in Photoshop to clean it up from this to that. Okay, so what you want to do is start out, bring in your image. So you go File, Open, and there's the image, Open. And it comes in, and you can see that the scanner picked up some of the black stuff that was part of the scan, and that's fine. What we want to do is, if you remember, we did this on a Bristol board that was 14 inches by 11 inches. So if we cropped it at 11 by 14 at 300, that is going to be a huge file. It's going to be about a 22 megabyte file, and we don't want to post that onto Blackboard. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the cropping tool, and we're going to then go to size and resolution. And what we're going to do is we're going to make it 5.5 inches wide and 7 inches high, which is exactly half. And then at 300, hit OK. And you can see that now I need to move the crop up a little bit. Looks pretty good. I might want to make it just a little bit smaller. And that's okay. Now I'm going to hit Command plus to make it a little bigger. I'm doing this in CS6. You could also do it in the new Creative Cloud. The Creative Cloud is a little bit different, but not that much different. Let's make sure that we have our layers open so we can see what we're doing here. So first thing we want to do is we want to make a copy of this background layer. So let's just copy it, and then we're going to turn off the background layer. What we're going to do is we're basically going to isolate and crop our 5 studies, and we're going to clean them up, and they're going to go onto a new background. So if you look, I haven't done a very good job of pasting these down. We can tell immediately when I put my guidelines on. They're a little bit off. So make sure that your rulers are checked so that we can do this. And when that's true, then you'll see the rulers here and here. Be on the selection tool, and then right in this area, get the arrow up there, and then click and then drag down your guidelines. And you can see it's a little bit tilted. That's okay. If it was really tilted, I might want to tilt the whole image a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm giving myself, see how they're not exactly the same height, but I'm giving myself a guideline so they're going to be much, much better. Now, if you did a really perfect job of putting them on there and they're all the same size, you might not need to do this. And I'm going to give myself some vertical guidelines. And you'll see why this is important here in a minute. And I want them to be about the same size. I'm just kind of eyeballing them. That's okay. All right. Now what I need to do is I need to go to this selection tool up here. If you click on it, you see there's a rectangular marquee tool, elliptical marquee tool, single row, single column. Something else might be there, but select the rectangular marquee tool, and then you'll see this little plus sign. Start in the upper left-hand corner, click, and then drag this down to your guideline. Now, I haven't figured out a way to copy this, but some of you might know how to do that. But what I do is I hit the Shift key now, and what that's going to do, you see a little plus come up, and that means it's going to be adding to the selection. So I just follow my guidelines. Okay, and then I'm going to hit the shift key again. And again. It's not going to be absolutely perfect, but it's probably going to look better than what I had. But the important thing is it's going to get rid of kind of my ugly background here. So, all right. And then I'm going to select the whole interactive study here. Okay, so I've got them all selected. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to select, and I'm going to go select inverse. And what that means now is that what's been selected is not the original squares, but the background, which I'm going to get rid of. All right. So in order to get rid of that, I'm not just going to delete it. I'm going to go layer, new layer via cut. Click on that. Okay. Now what you see is there's a new layer that has that. If I get rid of that layer right there, what you see now, what remains are just the studies, and that's pretty clean. I'm going to go ahead and flatten this. Flatten image. Okay, and it's going to say discard hidden layers, and I'm going to say okay because I don't really want those. And now you see it comes up with a nice clean background. I think the white is a little bit bright. You can leave it like that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my bucket tool. I'm going to go to the palette, and I'm going to select a really light gray. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce that as my background. Now I'm looking at that, maybe that's a little too dark, so I can always lighten it up a little bit. You don't have to do this. There we go. I think it's just a little softer than the harsh white. The other thing is that when it goes into your journal, it'll give a little contrast to the white background of the journal and let this stand out. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to label this. So we'll go to the text tool and horizontal type tool, and let's use 12 point. You can use your favorite text. It doesn't matter to me, but let's use 12. And then what we're going to do is we're going to type in, and remember you're going to come up with some sort of subjective name. So I'm going to call this tropical. See what I did wrong? I forgot to change the bucket to black. All right. Tropical Salvaje. And that's going to be my hot. Then I'll go over here. I'm going to call this guy fish and chips. And that's my warm. So let's say I had it all done, and then I'll go File, Save. Okay. And you might want to save it as a PSD on the desktop, and then eventually you're going to change it. You're going to resave it. I want to move this down a little bit. Okay. And once I've got the other ones done, then I would just go File, Save As, and then remember to save it as a JPEG. And there you go. Except for the text at the bottom, it's ready to go. And then you would just place that into your file. That's it.